In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can deliver remote IT support to your users in Microsoft 365. We're going to look at the Microsoft 365 feature, how it works, and we're going to look at the cost. And we're going to ask, is it worth it? But before I get into all that, just a quick introduction as always. My name is Jonathan Edwards, also known as the Bearded 365 Guy. I help businesses all over the world with their Microsoft 365. You can find more information at bearded365guy.com. Now, if you run a business, you've no doubt got people spread all over the place using a variety of different devices. For example, you might have a sales guy who's got a Windows laptop and an Android phone. You might have people in your office. You might have people working from home. You might have people at different ends of the world. And all of these people sometimes need tech support. Now, the best way to do that is to remote control their devices. Now, people still find this really weird. Oh, look. My mouse is moving. I've not even touched it. Now, there is a feature in Microsoft 365 called Remote Help. What does it do? It provides remote help for devices. Now, there are three things that I really like about Remote Help. Firstly, it's all integrated within Microsoft 365. We don't have to use separate tools, and I really like that. Secondly, it works for Windows devices, Mac OS, and Android phones. And thirdly, we can control the security of it because we're using Microsoft 365 roles and conditional access. So there are three really positive things. But there are a couple of things about Remote Help that I don't like. I mentioned Windows devices, Mac OS, and Android, but I didn't mention iOS, iPads, and iPhones because it don't work on them. The second thing I don't like is the price. The price of Remote Help is £2.90 per user per month. Now, based on the pricing, the question that I want to ask is who's buying this software? Now, you would think that Microsoft might want to appeal to IT support companies or MSPs. But a lot of these companies have something called an RMM. We're an IT company and we have our own RMM. Now, we buy this for about £1 per user per month. But this Remote Help from Microsoft is £2.90. But what about if you work in an internal IT department? Maybe you might be a good option to buy this. And maybe this is the audience Microsoft are aiming this product at. But even if you compare Remote Help at £2.90 per user per month with something like TeamViewer, it's still really expensive. Now, whether you buy it or not is for you to decide. I just think it's quite expensive. So don't shoot the messenger. But as always with my videos, I'm here today to give you a demo of how this works. So first up, before you do anything, make sure that you've got some Remote Help licenses in your tenancy. These can be bought or there could be a trial license. Now, who needs a Remote Help license? Well, let me introduce you to helpers and sharers. A helper is, as the name implies, someone who helps. This is your tech support. They are classed as helpers. The sharers are the people receiving the technical support. Sharer means sharing their device, sharing their screen. So who needs a license? Well, helpers and sharers all need a license. So once you've got the licenses, now we need to go ahead and enable Remote Help in our tenancy. How do you do that? Let me show you. So I'm logged in to my test Microsoft 365 tenancy. I'm logged in as a global admin. If I just go down to billing here, go to licenses, you can see I've added a couple of Intune Remote Help licenses. And I've assigned those to a couple of users, okay? You can see that my admin account has got an Intune Remote Help, so I will be the helper. And you can see that Fred Finance also has a license and he will be the sharer. Okay, so we're all licensed, we're in a good spot. If I then go down to Admin Center's Microsoft Intune, I'm now going to enable the Remote Help service. So I go to tenant administration, and you can see here, look, we've got a remote help option. Now, this is the remote help section, so we can monitor active sessions here. Obviously, there's no sessions happening at the moment, and we can also list any sessions there. But there's a tab in the middle called Settings. Now, you can see it says Remote Help is disabled. So what I would do, it's very simple. I'll simply click on Configure, and then I enable the Remote Help service. This also activates these two options here. So the first one is allow remote help to unenrolled devices. So what this is saying is even if a device isn't enrolled in Intune, you can still offer remote help to those devices. So it really depends on your business, how it's set up. If you say not allowed here, it's more secure because we're not allowing remote help to devices that aren't in Intune, okay? So it really depends on your business. There's just two options, not allowed or allowed. And then there's a chat feature with the remote help, so you can choose to disable that if you want or enable it. So disable chat, no, would enable the chat feature. Once you're happy with that, you would simply click on save, and that enables remote help. Really easy. Okay, we've now enabled remote help in our tenancy. Now, I talked previously about helpers, people who connect the devices in your business. Now, for security, not everyone can be a helper. Makes sense. To be a helper, you've got to have certain permissions assigned to your Microsoft 365 account. Now, it's easier for me to just show you this. So let me do that now. Okay, we're still in Intune. Let me pop back to tenant administration again, and I'm going to click on roles. Now, these are the roles that have been pre-built into Intune. I've not set these up. These are just default roles. And there's all kind of roles. There's help desk operator, application manager, etc. I'm just going to click into this one here, which is help desk operator. And if I go on to properties, it will show me exactly what permissions a help desk operator has. And we've got all these permissions. So these are the guys and the gals who work on your help desk. Now, if I scroll down to remote help app, you can see that the help desk operator has these permissions. They can view the screen. They can elevate their session. What does that mean? Well, if the end user, so the sharer, is logged onto their computer with a standard user account, so they can't install apps and things like that, what this elevation permission can do is elevate the helper's session so they can do admin things. So even though the end user is logged on with a standard account, it means the tech support can do admin roles. As well as view screen, the remote help can also take full control, so they can control the mouse, etc. And they can have unattended control, okay? So they don't need the end user to allow them permissions onto their device. Now, as I've said, these are pre-built Intune roles. What you can do is create your own Intune role if you want, and you could call it something like this, tech support. And then on the following screen, you will get all these permissions. So if you're not happy with the Intune ones, you can create your own. You can see the remote help section is there. They're all set to no. You can do what you want. So you might have a role, for example, that allows people just to view screens and nothing else. So you'd have to create your own role. But what do we do from here? Well, what I would do to start with, I would go to groups here. So I don't want to save that. And once I'm on groups, I will click on create new group. This group is going to be a security group, and I want to give this group a name. Maybe it's something like that. I can also give it a description if I want. I'll leave that as no. Membership type assigned. I'm going to give this group an owner, so I'll give that my admin account. Okay. And then I'd add my level 1 support team people into this group. So we just scroll down a little bit. We'll add Ian Intern into this group. I'll just search for, and I'll add my admin account. Okay, click on select. Now I've created that group. It's a level 1 support team. Let's go back to tenant administration and roles. And what I'm going to do is go into Help Desk Operator and then Assignments. And I'm going to assign, okay, give this assignment a name, okay. Add my groups. So I'll add the group that I've just created into here. So these people in this group will have the Help Desk Operator role. Click on Next. What does scope groups mean? Well, what I'm going to do is add all devices, add all users. That means that the people in the level 1 support team will have Help Desk Operator permissions over all devices, all users. What you could do if you want, you could have a group of computers called executives computers, for example. So only certain people can remote control or have a Help Desk Operator role over certain devices. You might have to have quite a big business for this to be viable. In most small businesses, your Help Desk team will be able to provide Help Desk services to everyone. But that is an option there. Click on Next, leave that as it is, and then click on Create. So now I've done my permissions. What do we do next? Okay, we're all set up and we're nearly ready to go. The next step is to install the remote help software on the computers. Now, both the helpers and the sharers need this software installing on their device. Obviously, if you've got a bigger business, you can just push this software out via Intune. But for my demo purposes, I'm just going to install it manually. Let me show you how. Okay, I've got a couple of virtual Windows 11 computers here. I've got this one and I've got another one. This PC here is, let's say I'm the tech support guy. So this is my PC. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open an internet page and I'm going to browse to this page here. It's aka.ms/download remote help. What that's going to do is download a file, which it's doing now, and then I'll open that file. We're going to accept the terms and click on Install. Nice and easy. Okay, that's installed. Just minimize that. I can then click on Launch, and it launches the Remote Help application. Okay, what I've got to do is sign in. I'm already signed into this PC, so I shouldn't have to enter my password. Okay. Click on Accept the license terms, and then I get this page here. Okay, so this software is the same whether you're on a sharer's PC or a helper's PC. You've got two options. You can get help or you can give help. Okay, before I go into the demo any further, I'm going to install this same software on my other virtual machine. That's this one here. So this will be the sharers. Let me do that now. Okay, I've got both my computers here. Look, this is my tech support computer and this is the person who needs my help. So as the tech support person, what I would do is come down to give help and I would get a security code. Okay, it's give me a code here, look, and that expires in 10 minutes. So copy that to the clipboard, or what I could do is read it over the phone to the person who needs help. So back onto here now, I just enter the code into there and I click on Submit like that. Just put that back like that. Okay, it's going to wait for the person to set up the session. Okay, so Fred Finance is ready for my help. So what I can do now, I can view the screen or I can take full control. So I'll take full control. And then I get a further prompt on this PC here. So Jonathan Edwards is asking for full control, okay? Remember to close anything that you don't want them to see. They can simply allow that. So there's like a mutual handshake going on here. And then if I just minimize that and just pull this here like that, if I pull that full screen, you can see now that I've got control over Fred's computer. There we go. And I've got different options along the top. So firstly, admin session. So what I'm doing now is I'm requesting an admin session over that PC. So that's the elevation that we talked about earlier. If Fred's got multiple monitors, I can choose which monitor that I want to see. Fred's only got one. And then we've got some annotations here. So if I want, I can draw on the screen. You might want to show Fred something, and you can do exactly that. That will appear on Fred's PC as well. And the chat function, okay? So we've got a full chat function here. If you just want to chat to Fred, you can do that. And if I hop back to, so if I just come out of full screen here and go back to Fred's computer now, this one here, you can see that Fred has a new chat there. So Fred can chat back to him as well. So it's all the features that you would expect in remote control software. Okay, there's nothing fancy about it. It's just remote control, and it's fairly easy to do. Now I'm going to leave this session because I want to show you another way to connect. Okay, that's ended. Go back to there. That's ended on Fred's as well. So just minimize those. What I can also do, if I go back to Intune, which is here, I go to Devices and I go to Windows. And if I find the device I want to connect to, there is another way I can do it. I don't particularly like this way, but I'm going to show you anyway. I can simply go to here and click on New Remote Assistance Session. Okay, if I just open that virtual machine again, which is this one here, just close out of there, click on Continue. That's going to send a pop-up to this device here. There you go. Open Remote Help. All it does is open that software up there. So that's another way that you can get remote support. Okay. What else can I show you? Okay. Is that it? Not quite. Let's talk a little bit more about security. Remote Help now works with conditional access. If you're a regular watcher of my YouTube videos, you will know that I like conditional access. So how can you use remote help with conditional access in Microsoft 365? Well, here's a couple of examples. You could create a conditional access policy to make sure that the users giving and receiving the remote help must have a compliant device. That's example number one. You could create a conditional access policy to make sure that the people using remote help support and receive help must have multi-factor authentication enabled. Couple of great examples. Let me show you how to do that now. Okay, so we are in Intune, and what we need to do is create a conditional access policy. And to do that, we go to Devices, and then we can go to Conditional Access. Now, before I create this policy, there's a little bit of preparation that we need to do, and I'll show you exactly what that is. So go down to here, and we want to go into PowerShell. Okay, so PowerShell, run as administrator. That will launch PowerShell. And then what we do here, I've got in a Word document. Okay, so we've got a few bits to do. Install module. So we will simply copy that and paste it into our PowerShell window. I've already done that. So the next bit for us to do, in fact, I've done it all, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. We need to connect to that. That's going to ask us for our Microsoft 365 credentials. So that is the admin account we're using here. I'll type in the password, click sign in, and that will sign us in to the PowerShell. And then we need to install the remote access service principle. Go into there, copy that. Again, I've already done it. So I've got an error because it's already there. But for you, that should install it. Okay. And then we're going to go back to conditional access. You're going to create a new policy and you're going to give it a name. Something like that is okay. We will point this at all users. And here is the target resources. And we select resources. We click on select. If you type in here the word remote assistance service will appear. Now, if you haven't done that previous PowerShell work, this won't appear. So that's what the PowerShell work was all about. Click on select. We can add some conditions if we want. So we can add certain locations. We can add certain device platforms. Again, with conditional access, the world is your oyster. We can come down here to grant, and we can grant access, require multi-factor authentication. Or what we could do is we could grant access, require device to be marked as compliant, and then you could just select one of these controls rather than all of them. But for the purpose of my video, I'm just going to do this one. I'm going to select this and switch it on. I'm going to click on create, and that policy has been created. Okay, so what does that look like on one of my PCs? So I'm back on one of my PCs from earlier. So let me go and look at Remote Help. Launch that one. It wants us to sign in, which is okay. It will recognize the account that we're logged onto the PC with. So click on there. But this time it needs MFA. Okay. Enter the MFA on the phone. And then, and only then, will I be allowed to sign in to Remote Help. So conditional access, MFA, really good policy to have. Okay, that is Remote Help in Microsoft 365. My own personal opinion is this software is priced way too high. If Microsoft seriously want to compete with this software, they've got to lower the pricing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Look forward to seeing you again soon.